Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Steven,
And I'm Todd.
and today we are going to be discussing episode 5 of WandaVision. So, starting with one of the biggest things that occurred, like right off the bat, was Wanda's twins, aged 5 years. Like one moment they were in their cribs, they were babies, and then boom, they were. Wanda turns back around and they're like, oh, they're growing up already. Like we know they were born in one episode, which spanned basically 9 months in like 10 minutes probably, and now they're 5 year olds. It's like, what do you think of that, Todd? Because
Okay, so
that's crazy. But,
before they actually aged, Agnes came in, right?
oh yeah, that's
And
true.
so like there was this weird scene where they were just like um all three of them were confused cuz like Vision was there, Wanda was there, and Agnes was there, and they were just all kind of confused. And it seemed like Agnes kind of had some sort of control over that because like
Yeah,
normally Wanda would just like have it fully flowing and everything, but like Agnes was
yeah.
trying to get Wanda to have her hold the babies so that she could do something to them, right?
Well, what I took that as, it seemed like because the scene he's talking about, Agnes came in and was going to help them with the babies, and then she stops and was like, basically like she broke character or something, and asked Wanda straight up, like, "Do you want me to do that take again?" As if Wanda was like the director, and she's asking like, "Do you want me to? Should we run that back from the beginning?" And they're both looking at her like, "What is she talking about?" And even Vision asked Wanda like, "What the heck is going on?" But a little bit after this, we see while they're standing there talking about what she just said, she's over there like rocking the babies and stuff like that. She's like spraying something over them. I don't even know what that was
Mm-hmm.
about. And then all of a sudden, they're not in the cribs when Wanda and Vision go over to the crib. Here, they turn around and the kids are standing there. They're like, probably, I'd assume they're about 5 years old, something like that. And they're both just like standing there. And even Wanda and Vision don't know what exactly happened. Now the interesting thing was that like Agnes was spraying something over them, which I think probably means Agnes aged them on purpose, because if Wanda's not doing this and if it is like Mephisto, like everybody's saying, I think it's essentially like that's her way of, he needs the kids to age basically for whatever they're trying to do to work, and I guess that might have been Agnes's way of doing that. Either that or it was Wanda trying to just get her kids so she can like live a life quicker than normally you would, like without actually having to live through all the stuff of them aging, I guess. But it was a weird scene for sure, just from even what when Agnes broke character for a second and then Vision was kind of questioning it. It kind of led to Vision questioning everything throughout the episode. We'll get into that a little bit, but um, yeah, just the fact that her twins aged. I mean, it's weird how everything works
Yeah,
inside Wanda's little world too.
yeah. Um, I'm kind of convinced that that spray maybe kind of like gave them new powers to be able to
Yeah,
age
it could be that too.
together, or
Mm-hmm.
like if they had like they have like connected minds or something, so like later on they look at each other when they're 5 and then they both age together to become 10.
Yeah, I mean, so
So
either one of them can do that, can like make them age, like because I believe in the comics, like one of them has Wanda's powers, and then one of them has like I guess Quicksilver's powers in the comic, but one of them maybe here has like Vision's powers or something. So one of them's quick and the other one has Wanda's powers. So maybe that's what happened too. He was able to make them both age up, or what, or it was both of them. Because Agnes was present for both times that they aged up too. So that's
mm-hmm,
why I
yeah.
thought maybe it was her doing something. Because she was
And
standing behind them the first time. But the second time they age up, Wanda and Vision were looking at them though, like they were. She was staring right at them because she told them,
mm-hmm,
because they found this dog basically, and then they wanted to ask if they could keep them or keep the dog, and she told them you can keep one if you're when you're 10 years old, or when you're a little bit older you can we'll get a puppy or whatever. And so then they just like aged up 5 more years. They're like 10 years old now, so that they could get this puppy. So it kind of makes you wonder. I guess, like you said, it probably is the kids doing this themselves. Then
And
another
just the
another big thing that happened was like Vision started to discover exactly what's going on. Kind of like he starts to realize that everybody in town seems to be acting weird. Like even it started with the Agnes thing that we talked about, where
yeah.
she kind of broke character, and then he goes to work and kind of discovers Norm. Like he touches Norm, or he figures out that he can change things if he touches them. So like the computer came up with the messages from the outside world, basically, that said,
Mm-hmm.
it said straight up said Darcy Lewis on there and Sword and everything. It was like they sent an email into Westview or something.
Yeah, just like the radio signal from
Yeah,
episode 2.
exactly. And then Vision touches it and it goes back to normal. So then he's talking to the guy Norm, who works at his office in the show, and he touches him and he like breaks character and starts flipping out, like telling him like she's in control, she's controlling my mind, like you got to stop her, I need to call my family and all this other stuff. Then he touches him
Mm-hmm.
and he goes back to normal. So it's kind of like Vision being inquisitive now is like he's starting to realize that nothing's right here, and he even questions Wanda about it later on. Like, and they kind of have a fight about it too. Like, he straight up says like, I what's outside of Westview? I want to know everything, like what's going on, and she's kind of like denying that she knows anything, and
Yep.
which is either her lying or she really isn't in as much control as we're led to believe. But
Or maybe she's just going through like some sort of crazy phase, like some people like to have like those mental breakdowns and stuff. Maybe that's part of it.
that's what I'm saying, because it's almost like just like how Thor dealt with everything that happened in Infinity War, like and Endgame. Like he blamed himself, he lost his whole family and stuff like that. So he took it by getting fat and kind of just like not wanting to be a superhero anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
then he got like, Peter Parker didn't want to be a superhero anymore because he was mourning Tony Stark's loss and things like that. And now Wanda's got like Vision was killed, her brother was killed, and she's taken all this back in at once.
Yep.
That's probably the basis for why she's doing all this in the first place. But now Vision is starting to question her about it, and that's making her mad. So that could play into something in the next couple episodes, I'm sure. We actually get a look at the outside world as well.
Yeah.
With We find out that how Wanda acquired Vision's body. She actually broke into a sword facility,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess happened 9 days before everything that was going on. We hear this. They show footage of it. She broke in to take his body and stuff like that. So that it still doesn't explain exactly why she's in Westview though, but that's a big revelation. Like we do know that Vision basically is dead, or she brought him back to life, but he's not actually his colorful self like we saw last week, or like we've been seeing in the show. But
Right.
she's lugging his corpse around essentially.
Yeah, but he somehow still has a way of thinking even though he's dead. Like, I don't know if that's
Yeah,
how like AI works.
that was one thing that was strange, because if she's controlling him just like she controls everybody else, how is he able to like act on his own? Like he's sort of breaking out of his character to kind of investigate all this stuff. So it's kind of like how's he doing that? If she's controlling, like, does she know he's doing that? Is she actually controlling everybody in the town? Because that's a lot of people to control at one time. If she's basically just sitting at home and then all these people are brainwashed or whatever. So
And I think that what is happening throughout this is that at the start she had almost full control of everybody. Now slowly through these episodes we're seeing more and more people break character, like Agnes especially, like Norm breaking character, Vision breaking character, and then also the twins are not being phased by Wanda at all.
yeah, like they're straight up not listening to her and stuff. Like when she tells them to do something,
Yeah,
so it's like
and
she can't even control the kids
yeah.
because they were born into this world, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. Well, everyone else was she took over. So the kids are going to start probably making her break out of this as well. She's losing focus, is how I'm taking this. Like, because she's got the kids now. She's trying to maintain her life she has there, but then there's all these disturbances and all that stuff. So she's kind of losing control of it all, I guess, and it's eventually going to crash in on her, I think, or it's going to make her
Yeah.
go nuts. But yeah, just because she broke in, I don't know if she really like killed anybody necessarily to get to Vision's body, but it showed her when she broke in, they consider her a threat now because she did that, and now they kind of want to get Vision's body back as well because apparently Vision's like living will was to not be used by anybody as like a weapon, so they would have had to. So legally, she was stealing Vision's body, and like it goes against even what Vision wanted from himself, like when he would die someday, because he doesn't want to end up in the wrong hands either. And now that she stole him, it is kind of like breaking the law. They mentioned breaking the Sokovia Accords and everything else.
But I also think like kind of the opposite. How like Hayward and Sword kind of took Vision away from Wanda to begin with because they were together constantly until the end of Infinity War. So I feel like
True.
Sword Sword took Vision away from her, and now she's just getting back what was hers before he died.
Another like one of the last couple things we're going to talk about, a huge scene that occurred in this episode. They basically the agents of Sword try to send in like another drone, but they kind
Mm,
of disguise it in like 80s tech or something so that they wanted to see if Wanda would notice if it broke into her sitcom reality sort of, because from the outside if it looked like a regular drone she would change it, so if it looked like it was normal then she wouldn't, but that wasn't the case. They sent it in to try and contact her, but here they were actually going to try and shoot her. So when that happens, she kind of intercepts it. She actually leaves the portal herself. Like
yeah.
she straight up comes out of Westview to confront the agents of Sword that are all surrounding her, and basically threatens them, like saying, like, "This is my home. You better stay away, or like, this is your last warning." And then I'm coming, or things are gonna go down pretty much. But she had like they tried to shoot a missile at her, and she basically just like stopped it essentially. But Monica tried to talk to her, and then
Mm-hmm.
she like doesn't care really. She doesn't want them coming in and stealing Vision, basically.
And well, whenever you were saying that they were trying to shoot Wanda, Monica didn't know that they were planning on doing that. She thought that it was just a recon drone to go in and talk, but Hayward had something up his sleeve, which is also kind of like I think he's more bad than good at this point because he
Yeah.
didn't tell anybody that it was armed or anything. But I think it was actually an 80s drone too, like something actually
Oh,
built
well,
in the
but yeah,
80s
whatever. But it was like 80s
as well.
tech,
But
whatever they said.
yeah.
But yeah, so he kind of straight up lied to Monica, which
Mhm.
also shows how untrustworthy he might be down the road. Like, what is his actual agenda? Things like that. Um, But just the fact that Wanda, this is the first time we saw Wanda actually enter the real world outside of Westview since the beginning of this show.
Mhm.
So she knows people are watching her because they keep sending in all these disruptions. Like they sent in the guy in the, well, it was a hazmat suit that got turned into a beekeeper suit when he entered there. They sent in that drone in the second episode, and now they're sending in another one. She's basically warning them, like, leave me alone.
Yeah, and I actually have a big question of the day here. Um what happened inside the bubble when she went out?
Exactly. I was wondering that too because when she's in there, she basically has control of everybody, or we're led to assume it's her. But when she leaves, it's like for that brief moment, she was out there for a couple minutes at least, talking to the
Mhm.
sword agents and stuff. Like when she leaves, does that break them out of control for temporarily, or is it all still is like the whole thing basically her reality, and it keeps them in what she's controlling them at? Like what I'm saying.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, or if it is somebody else controlling them, that like Agnes or something, keeping them playing the characters they're supposed to play, then it wouldn't matter if Wanda left or not. But I guess, I mean, that is an interesting question. I was thinking that too. What happens if she leaves? And finally, the biggest thing, the biggest reveal in the end of this episode, somebody knocks on the door, and Wanda opens the door, and she's surprised to see it's Quicksilver standing there, which
Mm-hmm.
is her brother Pietro Maximoff, except it's the Pietro Maximoff from the X Men franchise, the young
Yes.
X Men ones with like James McAvoy and
Mm-hmm.
Michael Fassbender and all that from the recent X Men movies. It's that Quicksilver, not the one from Avengers: Age of Ultron. And Darcy Lewis mentions it when she sees it on the screen while she's watching it. She says Wanda recast Pietro Maximoff, or she recast Pietro,
Mm-hmm.
which that leads to a lot of questions because
Yeah.
wouldn't she have to know like this version of Pietro? Or like, did she just manifest him? Is he just like here now, or was he a member of the? Was he a person living in this town, and now she mind controlling him, and he's just Quicksilver now? Like a lot of questions just from that one thing.
Or maybe like even though Wanda wasn't in the X-Men series, like in the movies and stuff, she could have still been in that, but also in the MCU. So like they could say that she has like a split mind or something. So she like slightly knows who Pietro is from the X-Men because she has two different minds and two different realities or something. So then she knows him from the other reality that's like in her subconscious or something. So then she can bring him in and start this whole reality shift.
I know, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, I mean, I guess this would technically be the start of the mutants crossing over into the MCU because now that Marvel owns like Fox and everything, they own all the X Men property now. I'm amazed they're actually doing it this quick, like
Mm-hmm.
bringing
Yeah.
them in this quick after Avengers and stuff like that. Like, I know it's probably not going to play off. Like, we're not going to get the full on X Men probably until like Phase 5 maybe or something. But this is a nice little way to bring it in because if you think about it, we know from X Men Apocalypse that Magneto is Pietro's dad in that
Mm-hmm.
universe. So it makes you wonder now, does that technically make Magneto her father as well? And are we going to be seeing some Michael Fassbender up in here? Um, and if that's the case, are we going to see like Xavier? Is this going to be the X Men that we get is like James McAvoy and all them, or is this going to be some of them and then they'll get other characters in there? Like, I don't know how many X Men are just going to come from this, but at least right now it looks like they're kind of leading into like a Full House type thing with because she's living there with Vision and her two kids, and her brother moves in with them now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like on those sitcoms where your brother who you haven't seen in years comes in. But that was definitely a really surprising scene. I was kind of shocked when I saw that.
But is this the thing that Vision's the actor of Vision, I can't remember his name right now.
Paul
But
Bettany.
yeah, Paul Bettany. Is this the person he said that he was like waiting to act
He never
with?
got to work with, and he wanted to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking it's gonna be because I'm thinking by the end of this series we're gonna see Doctor Strange walk up. At least like the very last episode or something, like in the last scene or something, he's gonna walk out, and that's gonna be what leads into the Doctor Strange, the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know. I mean, Paul Bettany did say he was going to. He was happy to be able to work with an actor he never got to work with before, so that kind
Mm-hmm.
of led people speculating. So maybe that's this
Yeah.
guy, or I forget what this guy's name is that plays Quicksilver. But
Yeah. Me,
yes,
me neither.
that's interesting. That she's basically opening the door, and if it's not her that brought him in, if it's like the person who, if someone else is doing this, like if it's Mephisto or Agnes or whatever, then that would mean that basically Wanda is kind of being brainwashed into believing that this is her brother. And if she was, because if she's like recasting him, she would have to know this person that is actually playing him right now, or
Yeah.
like you said, she probably knows him from another reality, just like somehow. I mean, I hope we get an explanation of that too. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
to unpack from this show as it's
And
going on. Each episode gets better and better. But
you could also say that the brainwash, like, um, kind of Wanda looked kind of surprised to see
yeah,
him
right.
as, but like she still knew that that was Pietro.
She like paused for a minute and she's like staring at him, kind of like in shock, like you said. And then Vision asks, "Who is this?" And then he's like, "What? No hug for your long lost brother or whatever?" And then
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
she's like, and then she said Pietro. So like, I
Yeah.
don't
There
know.
might
That's
be.
kind of because you think about it. If she was gonna bring back her brother, you'd think she would have just brought back her like the actual her actual brother from Age of Ultron, not this alternate reality version. So if this is kind of like a wishing thing where she like wishes something into existence, then whatever she's wishing from, like let's say it's Mephisto, like everyone's saying, like maybe she wished for her brother back, but he gave her an alternate reality version of her brother or something along those lines. It's definitely intriguing, and I look forward
Mm-hmm.
to if he's on. Obviously, I'm sure he'll be on the next like the rest of the series. You'd think so. I'm interested to see what happens after this and what's to come. Just like with her, is she gonna get her father into like is Magneto popping up
Mm-hmm.
in the show or whatever? So there you go, guys. That was our review of episode 5 of WandaVision. Let us know what you guys thought down in the comments section if you liked this episode. Obviously, if you haven't seen any of the episodes yet, go check those out as well because the show is getting a lot better. I'm really enjoying the show. How about you, Todd?
I'm also really enjoying it. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
And if you watch it all at once, it'll feel like you're just watching a 2 hour movie basically
Mm-hmm.
because it's starting to feel like an Avengers movie again, which is exactly what we kind of need. But be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. We're gonna be reviewing every episode um, for the rest of the season, and then we'll be getting into all the other ones as well, like the
Mm-hmm.
Falcon and Winter Soldier stuff like that when that comes out. So stay
Yep.
tuned for that, everybody. Stick around and take care out there.
Subscribe.